I dream and the world trembles.
You are listening to the Emerald Dreamcast, a World of Warcraft podcast, with your hosts, Hazel and WoW Martian.
Hello and welcome everybody. Today is May the 16th of 2016. Welcome to episode 9 of the Emerald Dreamcast. I am Hazel and I am here with my good friend and co-host WoW Martian. Say hello, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Hi, Joe.
There we go. How did I do? I didn't know what to say. I felt a little bit too much like a radio. I guess this is kind of like radio, but I felt like a little bit too sportscast.
Get that morning zoo kind of, hey everybody, welcome to a wonderful Monday here.
Oh god, it makes me cringe inside.
Yeah!
It makes my muscles hurt.
Tomorrow's 2 for Tuesday, we're going to play some Van Halen. Sorry.
Oh man. What if for Pirate Day we did a whole podcast with accents?
Oh, God.
Do you think we could keep it up?
Oh, we have to drink rum.
I have rum actually.
I somewhere I do. Wait, where's all the rum gone? I don't know. I think I do. Somewhere.
Anyway.
But, I just realized, though, when you're sitting there saying Hazel and Joe and everything, we can be like, Hazel Joe! Get it?
I do because of Hazel Bro. it's Hazel Joe. Oh, and you know what?
Oh,
if
Lord.
we ever did shirts for the podcast, we could have coffee. It could be like a coffee ad
Oh,
shirt
my God.
for Hazel Joe.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Come on, that's good.
Hazel and
Anyways.
Cup of Joe. That's our morning
Welcome
show.
to our the off-topic episode, as it's probably
Yes.
going to turn out to be. Today we have a couple of topics lined up. We're going to go over our weeks in WoW. We are going to be talking about the recently released Overwatch beta participation numbers that they have announced, and they're kind of shocking, and what we think that means for WoW. We are going to be talking about the things that they covered in the Legion developer update, that little stream they did with Jesse Cox. We'll be going over the notes of that. And then after that, we're probably going to start talking about like sheep or something, because you know us, this never stays on topic for very long.
That's true.
So, Joe, what have you been doing in WoW this week?
In WoW, it's just been my garrisons. I had the 11 level 3 garrisons on my Horde characters, one of each class over on Thrall, and I decided to start, I've been kind of filtering in treasure hunters over on my Alliance ones for the past couple months, just, what the hell, we'll see what happens, and now I've pushed all those garrisons up to level 3 and gave them salvage yards and level 3 inns and all that stuff. So we're going to see how much gold comes from those as well. So basically what I do is I log in and I play World of Garrisonecraft all the time. That's all
Are
I
you
do.
stockpiling salvage crates? Or you just open so you get them?
No, I've been opening them just for the gold because, I was looking at it. I had, I think about 300 salvage crates. If you just vendor everything pretty much, you're looking at about 4K. So
From 300 salvage crates?
Yes.
Hang on, let me do some math. I'm sitting on a gold mine.
Yes, you are sitting on a gold mine. Now, bear in mind, the only thing I've been saving from those has been the class gear that comes from them, just to have those. But once I get enough gold, I'm just going to hold on to them like you are for when Legion opens for that wardrobe. God, can you imagine? That first week's going to be nothing but that.
Oh my god, yeah.
I don't know if I can do that.
I'm sitting on, hang on, I can actually check this right now. I happen to be logged in. I currently have 7,496 salvage crates to my name right now.
Jeez.
So, and we're a good solid 2 months out.
Right.
So,
there you
yeah.
go.
Next question that was actually on my mind, and Perk from the chat brought it up. Perk, just for context, is my very good arena friend. Joe mentioning he's trying to make fat stacks of nerd cash. How much gold is he up to now? So how much have you actually regenerated ever since you hit your cap and you bought some stuff?
Well, I've been spending it as fast as I get it pretty much because I've been trying to get the tokens. I want to get up to the 2-year cap, but I'm up to a year now, and because these things are 46.
They're 50K now.
Yeah, it's
Almost
crazy.
50K, it's crazy.
So what I'm thinking now that I've got a year stockpiled, I'm just going to stockpile all the gold again and see how far I can get on that. And then hopefully when Legion drops, they'll go down again. And then I can spend the gold on that. Because sitting here throwing, like you said, almost 50K a piece, if I can wait until they're maybe down to 20 again, will be much better. And I've got a
Are you
year
just
now.
wishing you go back in time to when they were like 25K?
Oh God, yes. Trust me, every time.
I thought they would stay there forever.
I know. Well, I mean, I knew they'd go up some, but good
Yeah.
lord, they just.
I wonder
keep
if they're ever going to go
climbing.
back down, or if like, I mean, if Legion participation increases and stays at an increased level, they may not go
Right.
back. They may just
I
keep
want to
wanting
know what the correlation between that and the population of the game is.
I think it depends on a lot of factors. You're right. It's not completely population of the game, because if you assume that equal numbers of people want to buy them and sell them,
Right.
it really depends on whether the people coming back are high on time or high on money. Like, do they have jobs?
Or high on
How many
rice.
people are unemployed? Is
Oh,
basically
come
what we need.
on. Oh, you know a lot of people that play WoW are unemployed. That was one of the things that used to frustrate me, because I'd go bust my ass at work and come home, and all my these people that are like I had this guild master, and his it was a female who was actually the GM, and her husband was the co-GM, and they did not work. You come home. I would come home from work, and I would sit there and I jump in, and they're like on the launch day, they're already almost a cap, and it's like you could hear them, like their kids in the background, just like destroying the house, and they're totally oblivious. And I'm just like, you have to be the world's most horrible human beings, but in game they're gods.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is disgusting.
Well, there's always that choice that you get when you log on and you pick up a new game like this. You just got to choose how much of your soul are you willing to pour into this game. What balance do you want to have? Do you want to have the real life and you want to be a scrub, or you want to just like wither away
Absolutely.
and get rank 1?
And that was the thing, man. I mean, I there were points when those situations where I'm like, God, is it really worth playing this game for? I mean, these people are reprehensible, but I love them. I kept playing. They're my guildies, so I kept playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Question for you related to the Garrison thing. I may have asked this last week. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I sent you a screenshot of the thing, but they announced the new Legion Goldsmith Fender.
Yes.
And that mount for 2 million gold. Did you say that? Are you going to get that?
No.
Is that something you're going to do?
There's no way. I can't make gold in this game. The only reason I made any in this game at all was, one, when LFR first came out, I was on a small RP server. A lot of people were able to do Dragon Soul that weren't able to raid before, so they were switching out gear a lot more often. So I made cutting gems. I made just cutting red gems. No, I didn't even cut them. That's right. I was selling just the raw red gems. And I made my first 100K that way. And then besides Garrison, that's it. Besides Garrisons, I can't make gold in this game. So there's no way. Once Garrisons are gone, I'm a poor man again. That's just the way. It's mostly, and this is what I tell people when it comes to making gold. It's not about making it. There's no. I mean, yeah, there are little secrets where you flip stuff and everything else. The biggest thing about making gold is not spending it.
Yeah, that's
the
it.
most huge thing. So, and I'm really bad. So.
Well, there's the not spending it, and then the other thing that I found when I first started to make gold, I guess it's not that important after you've got like a couple 100K and you're just playing the auction house. But I always made a point when I was like getting up to like my first 200K was to sell everything. Like I set up my auction house add-on so that I could just like go there with a full inventory and press a button, and it would automatically price all of my stuff, which is like a variety of greens, a variety of trade mats, like cloth and crafted stuff, like whatever. Right. It'll find the best price based on parameters that I'd set up ahead of time, and I could just mash a button, and it would post all of them. And I could do another thing that, like, scan them all to see if I had been undercut, and then cancel everything that I had been undercut, and then you go collect them all with a collect all from mailbox button. Like, the Trade Skill Master works in such a way that it takes forever to set it up. Like, if you're going to set that up, you need a weekend off. You need to get dressed in your work clothes, put your button-up shirt on, sit down with your coffee, and watch the tutorials and get it set up. But once you've got it set up, it basically makes the gold for you, assuming that you have like stuff to sell. So what I would do, I was so excited when I first got myself set up to sell stuff. I was like, oh my god, I need stuff to sell. I want to sell anything, like anything. So I like just started running random dungeons. I was like, don't select, go. And I just ran it over and over and over again. Just like collected mage weave cloth and just random greens. And I would sell them for whatever I could get. And I made a lot of gold doing that. And it was like so exciting because with Trade Skill Master, you can mouse over a tooltip of an item and it'll show you what the average region market price is and what like global market price and whatever else. So you can kind of get a ballpark of how much you're going to get for it. So you're just like on Courage and you get some pants to drop and it's like, hey, green pants. But then you look at them, it's like, hey, 400 gold. Boom! And you're just like so hyped about it. And I was super addicted to that for a long time. So I'm really excited because garrisons have kind of killed that for me. I mentioned it before that now that gold is just so easy to basically print for yourself.
Yes.
It doesn't really mean anything anymore, and I don't really do that. I'm so excited that with these new giant gold things, I'm going to have incentive to go run Zul'Farrak for transmog again. I'm going to be able to like just count my pennies and scooch them together and get like new auction house strategies of like flipping stuff and like actually actively try to make gold, because right now it feels like a waste of time. But if I'm working towards a goal of I want this boss spider mount, then I'm 100% going to do it. I'm really excited about that.
You're really gonna go for this 2 million?
Oh yeah, man.
Really?
I'm going to try and save up as much as I can from garrisons. Like between just these salvage crates, and then I'm just like doing the 10 my 11 alliance garrisons with all treasure hunters and whatever else. So I'm sitting on like 650,000 right now. And I'm making probably like close to 100,000 a month. So
Yeah.
by the time Legion comes out, I'm going to be not quite halfway there, but a little less.
Right.
And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to find all the good ways to make Golden Legion. If I bet you if I put my mind to it.
Yeah.
Try hard.
Yeah. I'm not,
I ran enough tunes as a child.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to, and I always admire people that could do, those gold maker, people. I can't do it. I can't justify the time that it takes to do it. So, I'm lucky that I did. That's why I was so adamant about making the million right when I was, and wasn't spending it until I made that goal, because I just know that's never going to happen again. It's not possible with me. So,
Right.
Well, it's just imaginary money, right?
So, yes. So you said you've been doing mostly garrison stuff specifically.
Yeah.
So that's very much a single player thing, right? Like unless you're adding people to help you fight garrison bosses. Have you done that?
I've never done all, the invasions or whatever. I don't think I've done one ever.
Yeah, I used to do, like, when WoD first came out, like, our guild would do the normal ones, like, in the very first patch, but I know they added some crazy ones later, like in 6.1 or 6.2 or something like that, and I have not touched those. And I don't see a good... I know there's mounts that drop off them, and normally a mount would be a really exciting thing that would make me want to do something.
Yeah.
But it's just like a wolfry color.
Well, I'll tell you what I need to do, and somebody reminded me last night, and I keep forgetting about it, is finish up Brawler's Guild so I can get that damn mount. Because
you have to do that. It's going on hiatus. You're not going to be able to do it in Legion.
I know, so I keep forgetting about it. So I need to go back and do that.
It's so easy in raid gear too.
I can't remember how far I was along, but they must have reset the thing, because I went back to try it just because of they're getting rid of it. And I was like back all the way down to rank 1 again. So I was like, oh.
Reset it between patches or like?
I don't know when it I haven't done it since Mist, so
it's totally reset in the new expansion.
Yeah,
for sure.
so I haven't touched it. So I did it for the fun and the challenge of it initially, but that kind of wore off. But now, yeah, with that mount, and I'm never gonna get the mount from Galleon anyway, so that's gonna be the closest thing.
I don't know. That might be something that in a couple expansions, but you can just wander along and two-shot him. You might pick it up one day.
Possibly, that's true. He does spawn, off enough. I'll never get like the Hulan mount. Fuck that.
Oh,
that thing's never around anymore.
it's every hour.
I never see it when I go there, and there should be nobody there. He should just be randomly flying around picking flowers, waiting for me to show up.
Oh man. I mean, maybe if they increase the spawn times, but I'm pretty sure he was on like an exactly hour-long spawn, because people used to have that timeless Isle helicopter on.
True, yeah.
That you would hang out. Like I used to just hang out at the timeless Isle. Do you remember? Did you ever do that?
Oh yeah.
5.4. That was like the thing to do.
I
You
loved
would be on the timeless Isle, yeah, and just like run around and do rares. I don't even remember why.
Yeah.
Why were we there? What did I get? Like there's the catch-up gear.
There
were just pets. You know what? There were pets. There was that Hulan mount, and then there were pets off of a bunch of different rares. That were pretty.
And that's what was great about that island. There was something for everybody, and I mean, you could just literally just run around there for hours and hours. And
yeah,
I mean, how often?
Those were like a lot harder than the Tanan rares too. Like a Tanan rare is pretty soloable. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were in Mob. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we could go on and on, but I mean, Mist got a lot right, and that was one of the things I think.
Particular patch too. Like they worked through some kinks early on with like the front loaded dailies and whatnot.
Right.
By 5.4, they had really sorted everything out. I've heard a lot of people say that in both raiding, Siege of Orgrimmar, but in both raiding and PvP, that was really the sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Isle of Thunder patch and that one too. I mean, those were so good.
Yeah. So, the reason I was asking you about how multiplayer you've been making your WoW these days is because this next topic may or may not impact you very much. So Overwatch, the Overwatch beta came and went, and many people tried it, including yourself, I'm told.
Yes, a lot. I played it a lot.
And they recently released the 9.7 million people played the Overwatch beta when it was out. 9.7 million.
Yes, a lot of people.
Like, isn't that like more than double what of people that are playing WoW right now?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's, I think it doubled. Like I think Battlefront was the game it was supposed to be competing with, and I think it absolutely ruined it. Like it's going to be a huge thing. I mean, depending on how many people make that jump from having played it when it's free to actually spending the 60 or 40 or whatever to get a copy, because it is going to be pay to play. But not subscription, but you've got to buy a box.
Right, yeah. I think a lot of people will. I mean, especially for PC, because if you want, you can just spend 40. You don't have to even go to 60.
Yeah.
So.
But the other really incredible statistic I heard about it was people that played it for an average of something silly like 6 or 8 hours. Like, not a whole lot of people just logged in for one game and quit. Like, apparently it was very, very addictive. Did you find that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the great thing about the game... And we're not going to turn into an Overwatch podcast, by the way. But I mean, there's so many different varied heroes. The process of finding one that fits you, and of course, the main function of the game, honestly, is switching mid-game from character to character, which a lot of people, I don't know if they took to initially, but it's finally starting to catch on. That's a great. I mean, if you can come in, switch your character up, and it changes the momentum, or if you can really make a difference, but just by switching a character, it's quite awesome. And then, of course, you get the chess match because somebody else does something to counter you, and so
there's a lot of really help it balance, because you don't just get counter comp. If somebody counter comps you, you can counter comp them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of mini games within the game overall, which is a lot of fun. But you're talking statistics for Overwatch. I've got one actually that I brought up earlier on Twitter, and it's very important, and it's pretty mind blowing actually. Is that the Overwatch term, the name Overwatch? The Pornhub searches for for that word jumped 817% during the shooter's open beta. Well, there you go.
I blame Diva.
Yes. No, it's Tracer's ass. Clearly, she's the culprit. They had to bring that back. They had to tuck it back a bit.
Oh,
but
man.
870%.
Did you see how that controversy resolved? Wasn't it great?
Yes, exactly. It was not that much different. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, the new pose had just as much butt, but it had all that other character to it.
Yeah, exactly.
They wanted.
She's more sassy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I could not believe that stat. I don't know where. I honestly think I might have saw it on Facebook or something.
I saw it on my Twitter feed. To be honest, I wasn't surprised. But, people gonna do what they gonna do.
God. Oh, it's so unbelievable. Who thinks of this? Who goes,
somebody spends a little bit too much time playing a game. It just kind of, I bet you just bleeds into the rest of the brain until it's just like saturated everything. You're like, all right, I'm going to stop. We're going to move on.
You know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to get myself some red wine, a nice cigar, and watch some Overwatch porn. What? What? I don't get people.
That's a good thing, Joe. It's a good thing.
I think so.
It's a good thing to understand.
Wait for the mothership to pick me up.
So the topic that I kind of wanted to touch on in relation to WoW as far as that Overwatch launch goes is the patterns that I've really noticed in terms of player activity, like my friends list in particular. And I think different people will experience this differently depending on how addicted their guild is to WoW, basically. Like some people will have guilds that just play completely through the expansion. They'll raid or they won't raid, or maybe there's a social guild, but they're always playing WoW and they're always kind of on, and that's where their social life is. Yeah. And some other guilds have kind of bonded to this point where they're connecting outside of WoW, like they're in a Skype call, they're constantly in Mumble. Maybe they text each other, maybe they're snapping each other pictures of their cats. I wouldn't know anything about that. And they like move on to different games. Like that's something my guild has very much done, is in the absence of WoW, like after we took our big raiding hiatus, a whole bunch of people, they still hang out in the guild vent, but they'll be playing something else. Like they'll all be either playing their own games, just kind of chatting on vent, or a bunch of them went to Black Desert and they've been playing Black Desert lately, or just kind of other games as they come along. People will kind of hop in between WoW, and Overwatch has been such a huge, what's the word? Trigger for that, kind of, I guess you could say. Especially in regards to my PvP friends list, because I expected my raiding guild to kind of dissipate a little bit once the raiding was over.
Yeah.
But my list of people to queue threes with just kind of evaporated right around when that Overwatch beta came out. And I was wondering if you'd experienced anything similar, but I guess if you're just playing your Garrison, I bet all your Garrison followers did any of your Garrison followers, you know, snip right off to go play Overwatch instead? They're just not doing.
You know, that would be awesome. If they could. It's funny the synergy that these games have. Now, if we get into like how you have heroes, now you have Tracer in Heroes of the Storm, and you end up having like Tracer appear in your Garrison.
They put Tracer in Heroes of the Storm?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, actually, if you get the Origins edition, the $60 edition for PC, you get her free.
Oh, man.
Heroes.
I was actually considering that for the Winston pet, even though I know I'll never be able to play Overwatch. I almost bought.
I know. I feel so
Winston
bad
pet.
for you for that. That sucks.
Especially because I really want to play Overwatch. I would be a support main. I would like play the shit out of Mercy. Part of my life. I would play a good Mercy, and then I would like try and because you've got to switch characters every now and then. I would like learn the other supports.
Yeah.
But I can't even watch people play. I can't even watch the trailers.
Oh, it's so sad.
There's just no way. So I'm just gonna.
You would be a great support too. Yeah, that's no doubt about it.
You just got to learn your thing, and then it's okay. One day when WoW finally has less than 4 people playing. Once I'm down to 25% of the player base, then I'll probably hop over to Overwatch, or not Overwatch, but
merge the server so there's 4 servers total.
Yeah, no, it'll just be 5 people left PvPing. It's just me and my 2 teammates queuing against one other team, just over and over and over again. Just GG.
Yeah, there'll be what a PvP, RP, and 2 PvE servers, and then 1 pristine.
Speaking of pristine servers, that was one of the things. Was that one of the things they talked about in this thing? Was that something? That was a different.
You're talking about the Ian Hazakosis, Jesse Cox.
Yeah,
they talked about it. Actually, I was very happy that they addressed legacy servers and pristine servers. Ian Hazakosis basically admitted pristine servers, because I mean. Yeah, you can have the current game locked out with LALFG and all that other stuff, but the reason legacy servers were popular were they were basically an old video game that you can't play anymore. You know, it's like say the original Super Mario Brothers wasn't accessible to you anymore. People were, hungry for it. I mean, for the nostalgia, if nothing else, and you just can't get that version of the game. So. I was very happy that he was like, yeah, that was a cute idea. But no.
Yeah, I think the whole impetus behind the pristine server idea was right before the whole, like right in the middle actually of the whole private server drama. There was this big forum post about just kind of lamenting the loss of server community and the different roles that people had in server community. And that is the big thing the pristine servers would solve, is that you would still be on the news version of the game, but that sense of server community, of knowing people on your server and knowing who's the best PvPer, who's leading the best guild, who's leading the casual guild, who to go to for whatever. That is something that would probably be intact if they ever did a pristine server. That would be more community oriented. Yeah. But I honestly don't think it would work in today's version of the game. Imagine logging on and trying to do your daily heroic for some like Garrison resources, whatever, and you got to go find people.
Right, and that's the thing. The game's changed, and you want to try and make it like it used to. They don't mix. So, nah. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know if legacy servers will ever be a thing. I really seriously doubt they will. But if anybody's going to do it, instead of all these other private servers, I wish Blizzard would find a way and just satiate those folks. Because, I mean, I know I'd like to see pre-cata, barons and things like that. Now, granted, I have a feeling I get in there and wander around. I'm like, oh, this is like it used to be. Now what? And I'd probably just be like, okay, log off because I got my fill. But there are other people that want to go into that farther. So more power to them. But the game's changed, and it's changed for the better in a lot of ways, but it's also, I mean, the social engineering of the game is a little frustrating because of LFG and LFR and everything, but it is what it is. At this point, this is where we're at, and I'm hoping, from what I'm seeing, and we both are in the beta for Legion, I'm seeing a lot of good there, so I'm hoping we'll see, overall a lot of changes that they'll try and switch some of this, some of the problems in terms of grouping up. Of course, I mean you group up automatically out in the world and stuff now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I do think a lot of the Legion changes in terms of node sharing and like the auto grouping and whatnot will help solve a lot of problems as far as hostility in the open world.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how much hostility in the open world actually happens anymore because like servers have kind of died down a little bit. And sure, cross-realm servers bring more life, but maybe it's just because everybody's in their garrison, so nobody goes out there anymore. But when was the last time you really got frustrated with somebody trying to quest? Like, it's kind of rough when you're first leveling up.
Yeah.
So it's definitely good that they'll have it for launch. But I don't know if it's the biggest problem anymore. And I don't think outside of that Legion's going to do a lot to help the community in particular. That's going to be something that's always going to be kind of on the community to help itself.
Right.
I don't think the game can do any more to foster community interaction without actively inconveniencing people and making things take more time.
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest bit of hostility in the game, except for just general trade chat, low-level dungeons is where there's some serious hostility. You and I were talking about a Reddit post we saw earlier today. And it's true. You can't go into a low-level dungeon without people just wanting to pull that thing like crazy. And, whatever your agenda, like in this case, the Reddit poster was talking about a new healer who was doing strat for the first time. It said from the very beginning, hey guys, can we go at this a little bit slower? I'm a new healer, blah, blah, blah. And the tank just ran in, pulled everything, and killed everybody except for the one guy. And, of course, they kicked the healer because he was a shit healer. And it's like, dude, he warned you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that frustrates me is there's no patience. There's no just embracing the game, for the little things and just this impatience. I just don't get it. But
yeah, I kind of get it a little bit. I can sort of see both sides to that argument because on one hand, it's absolutely awful that we would treat a new player like that. And WoW obviously needs new players and they have to learn somehow. And we were all new like that once. Mm-hmm. Like nobody stepped into WoW knowing everything about it and chain pulling dungeons and healing like pro. And not everybody has friends that can kind of come in and hold your hand and help you through the first steps of it. Because that's the best way to do it, I think. Yeah. Is if you can find some people that you're friends with that are going to be patient with you and show you the ropes and, run that dungeon with you and not kick you when you die. But not everybody has that. And there's no really good solution for those people. Like, ideally, if WoW had a massive, massive player base, you could have a separate queue for people that are new, that are learning together, and then you could choose to queue into that as a talented player that you want to do good today. You want to do your play it forward, and you want to show some new people how it's done and make some new friends. And you could do that, or you could just queue into the experience queue. But obviously, that would slow down queue times, and nobody's ever going to do that.
Right.
But you end up with a situation where people just want to run their dungeon. They're just leveling. They want to shut off their brain. They don't want to try, and they just want to blast through it as quickly as possible because they're trying to get the level caps so they can gear up or raid or PvP or whatever. And they're treating that experience as this is just something I have to do. This is like my morning commute. It's like getting on the bus and riding to work. And then all of a sudden you have a 15-year-old student bus driver. And you didn't expect for that. You didn't count it into the time it would take you to do this. And now like they're asking questions, they're slowing down the run, and they're actively impeding your experience. Not on purpose. It's not their fault. It's just something that happens. And because there's so few new players, it's kind of unexpected. So I can see why a lot of players would get frustrated, and it's so much easier just in terms of looking out for yourself to boot that person and get somebody new who chances are is going to know what they're doing enough to be able to sort of chain pull the whole instance. Right. I see why people would selfishly just boot that person and move on. Right. But I don't think it's the right thing to do. It's just kind of a tough situation.
And that's my frustration right there. In the whole problem is that you're doing group content, which means your agenda is not everybody's agenda, and you need to go into that group content worried about the group, not yourself. I mean, I understand the way the game's set up and everything else. Again, that's the social engineering. Is if I need to get my valor or whatever I'm in here, my time walking badges and whatever else, then that's all I'm here for. So it's about me, and I don't care about anybody else. Yeah. We just need to do this fast. I understand that, but that's what I miss about. You talk about back in my day in vanilla and legacy servers. I do miss the way that, I don't know. I don't want to go into the whole old man, back in my day thing. I really don't. But I do miss that aspect. I mean, one of the things I was, kind of looking forward to with Time Walking Dungeons is we could do those old dungeons kind of like how they used to be. But people still, pull those like they think they're low level again. And
That's frustrating because that's not so much a case of people that know what they're doing not wanting to wait. That's people that don't know what they're doing not wanting to wait.
I think they're still just impatient and they expect the healer to deal with the excess. I really do. I mean, as somebody that goes in and heals those, they no matter what you do most of the time as a healer in a random dungeon, it's always your fault.
Oh yeah, that's not just dungeons. That's just a thing.
Right. And
that's
LFR,
right. That's dungeons. They're like I died or PvP'd and like I died. Why didn't you heal me?
Right.
And it doesn't matter that they didn't kick the deep freeze, ring of frost, cyclone, polymorph,
or they're
blind.
standing in the fire.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you got hodged across the map. It's your fault because you didn't heal me.
Yeah.
Get out. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just kind of a thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that really, really screws over time walking is that people that didn't play back in Burning Crusade, but they started in Wrath or Mop or Cat or whatever, and they've leveled a bunch of alts. So they're like, hey, I know this dungeon. I leveled through this.
Right.
I did this in my heirlooms, at level 60.
Right.
I totally been here. You know what I did at level 60? I ran right through the whole thing, and they try and do the exact same thing because it doesn't really, you see it, it's familiar, and you don't really get that sense of I need to slow down until you start dying.
Right.
And then you just think, well, this is just a pug, and you blame it on that. So
yeah.
I'm definitely not you as far as grinding those time walking dungeons. I applaud your bravery.
Well, I've done a little bit here and there. I really got to the point where I just do that first quest to get the 500 badges on multiple characters. Over time, I'll just accumulate them that way and get the mounts and everything that way. I do not sit there and grind. I don't even do the 5 or whatever for that quest in fact, this last time walking one, I didn't even do one dungeon. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful. But remind me, if we get into Legion Beta stuff, I have some stuff I just popped in my head. So I'm going to mark them down here.
I think I was just about done talking about, I think we covered Overwatch. Oh, you know what? Actually, while we're still on the topic of the Legion dev update that they did with Jesse Cox and Ian Hazekostos, I'm looking over all the notes, and a lot of it's old information, just things that we already knew, things like world quests and class protocols and whatever else, but there's kind of the reasoning by it. So if you didn't actually, if anybody in chat didn't catch that or didn't read the notes, I'm going to paste the MMO Champion link that has some Cliff's notes, basically, of what they went over, so that's a really good read. But the one thing that was news to me is they're talking about leveling and how, I'm just going to kind of skim over these notes here, but the level up experience classes is pretty broken on live. It's too easy. It's not paced very well. And leveling's been kind of neglected over the years. And people just kind of one-shot, two-shot things. They're just kind of bursting through it. By the time you've out-leveled a zone, you've only done the first 2 hubs, that kind of thing. And that's something that I actually noticed is kind of a dire problem for new players, just because you get these new players to WoW that they're not necessarily helpless. Like, they've got experience in MMOs, they've got experience in games, they have a basic idea of what they're doing. So it's not like they're failing quests, it's not like they're dying a lot, but they just get incredibly bored. I don't know if you read any of the feedback from people that came in from Hearthstone or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people just started leveling and it's like, wow, this game is so boring. When does this get better? People are like, level 100?
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Exactly.
And, yeah. So the thing that they're looking to do now is, because if you want to skip through leveling, like the reason that they made leveling so accelerated to begin with was because people just wanted to get to max level, and they kept doing experience nerfs and heirlooms and adding more and more heirlooms to just kind of rush people right through that to get people to max level, because that is where they put most of their development time. But now that you have the character boost as a valid option for skipping the leveling experience, that abbreviated leveling experience is really negatively impacting new players to the game that are trying to learn things but are trying to actually experience the zones, and that new content just isn't getting seen. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to rebalance the leveling experience to fix the combat times and sort of fix the experience so that you can actually finish a zone, or at least get close to finishing a zone before you out-level it. Presumably in normal gear. Presumably heirlooms will still help you out-level it a little bit. But they say they're aiming for a 12 to 15 second combat time against a single enemy. And at lower levels, when you have one skill, 12 to 15 seconds is too long, but the current 2 seconds is like too short, so they want to kind of make it in between there so that you're not just absolutely busting through leveling when you are leveling in Legion going forward, which I thought was really interesting. I had no idea. And it's kind of made me think about the ult that I have and if I want any more, because I'm not really one to dump $60 in a boost when it's so easy to level, but if it's going to get significantly harder to level in Legion, I'm kind of thinking about if I need any more ults.
Yeah, see, I was actually listening to another podcast, shout out to Saturday Morning WoW, where they actually suggested jokingly, but I think, with a little hint of, maybe. I mean, if they make leveling harder, hey, you can always boost a character.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
but
true.
I'll be honest, and this is gonna be my complete. You guys don't. I mean, we're a very positive podcast here. For the most part, that's what we've kind of built this thing on. For the most part,
Right.
You're about to. Oh, my ear! You're about to hear the most cynical I think I've ever been on this show, with like increasing combat times and making leveling more difficult and more balanced and whatever else. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, have you leveled on the Legion Alpha?
Yeah, but I'm talking about pre-Legion. Who gives a shit? I mean, I don't think they're going to spend that much time worrying about what the Barrens is like anymore. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I think it's a great topic of conversation, and it's certainly something we probably should have talked about I don't know, missed the Pandaria launch. But it's too late now. Nobody cares. We're at level 100 and we're going to be at level 110. Yeah. I don't think.
I think the time to do that really would have been with Cataclysm when they redid all the stuff.
Right, which I think it somewhat was. I don't know for sure, but you're right. I mean, if that was that was the time to really, obviously, to make it like it should. But I mean, there's a lot of levels to catch up on, and that's why they always kind of let it go. But I mean, there is, and then again, there's that cynicism where, well, now we got level boost, so let's make it a little bit more difficult. But I don't buy that they're going to spend that much time. We're pushing 14 months on this damn expansion, the last patch as it is, and they're going to go back and worry about what you're doing in the Barrens. I don't buy it.
Yeah,
I just don't. I'd love.
You're right. That really shouldn't be a priority.
No, and it sounds great, and I mean, if they could do it somewhat like, exponentially percentage-wise, just bring up health of random mobs and different zones and whatever else.
Just squeak a little knob up a little bit.
Right, yeah, exactly. This one goes up to 11. That would be
I always
fine.
thought that the stat squish would be just squeaking it up, though, and we all saw how that went.
Right. So, I mean, I've trust me, I've been frustrated because, I mean, they really did a great job in Cataclysm improving the quests and stuff. I mean, Silver Pine Forest is some of the best questing you'll ever do, the storyline and everything in there. But I honestly have never finished it because I always out-level it so fast, and people are like, well, why don't you just stay there and complete it? Why? I've got shit to do, and I've got to level a character. I'm not going to sit there and do gray quests just because I want to see how it turns out. I'll watch it on YouTube. I mean, so I love that. I love that we're having these kind of conversations. I love that the developers are talking about these kind of things because it is the world of Warcraft we keep forgetting about instead of queuing up for different instances and everything else. But that has sailed. That ship has sailed. So we'll see. I'd love to see them come up with something, but I mean, the concept, and you talked about it, I think, in your last vlog, maybe, I think it was, where you talk about whether if you want to go to Outlands or go to Northrend for that 60 to 80 kind of to get. Didn't you talk about that in your vlog? I swear you did.
I don't know. Keep talking.
Anyway, but that would be interesting to me, where people who hate Outlands or hate Northrend could choose one of those two and do those 20 levels in those, and then in that way, people are still leveling, but they could slow down the leveling in that, so you could actually get through those zones completely and see the storylines, but you're still making progress because you're not just doing 10 levels, you're doing 20. I'd like that where you could pick which one, because let's face it, it's really funny because I mean the way the timeline in this game is so completely screwed up. It doesn't matter if you go and do Outland and then Northrend. You don't have to really do them in order. We're going back and forth in time all the time anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd like to see something like that be instituted. That I would be excited about.
On that topic of going back and forth in time, this is a very, very short tangent, I promise.
Okay.
But it always gets me. You know how many times they've redone Ragefire Chasm?
God, yeah, it's got to be.
They're
at least
on like 3 or 4 by
Yeah.
now. Like every expansion, it feels like they just wipe it out and make new mobs.
That's true.
And new bosses just to like bring it up to date with the lore. Mm-hmm. And it just boggles my mind that like you can just leave Outland and leave Northrend and all these dungeons is just like history. So like going back in time, that's great, that's fine. And we have time walking all these things. But no, heaven forbid the Ragefire Chasm gets behind on lore. And I was trying to imagine why that could possibly be, because Like, I mean, Stockade's only got redone the once. Like, they put Hogger in there, and he's been down there ever since. So it's not like it's because it's in a capital city. But somebody at Blizzard must just have Ragefire Chasm as their baby.
They have a raging.
They just can't bear the
fire
thought of
chasm for Ragefire. Oh my.
Oh. Anyway,
That's
you
true.
had some notes on some thoughts, and I would like to hear what they were because I've completely forgotten what they were about.
Well, let's go. Talk about a little. I mean, obviously, like I said, we really didn't go into it, but Legion did go from alpha to beta since our last show. So, congrats to the folks that have gotten into beta since then. But I mean, right now it's join the group finder so you can just talk to an NPC in Dalaran and hope you don't get DC'd and have the world server down. So there's not much going on. I've kind of toyed around with a couple different classes, but as I sit there and look at all the characters I have in live, and I don't know how many alts you have, but you have a ton too. I mean, you've got 14 level 3 garrisons, I think it was.
Something like that,
Something like that. So we both have a ton of alts. And I look at, when you get into Legion, you hop into a scenario where you got to go to the Broken Isles and Broken Shore. And
that takes quite a while.
It does take quite a while, probably at least a half hour, I would say.
Minimum, yeah.
And then, you've got to go to, get your artifact weapon, and then you got to go to the class hall. All this stuff before you even get into the world. You got all this pre-stuff to do. And I'm thinking to myself, how many alts do I really want to go through that?
Especially once you consider artifact power.
Right.
Getting artifact power on the alts, like that was the grind that really killed me. Was leveling 100 to 110 and realizing I've unlocked 3 of my 15 skills or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god, this is going to be the worst thing ever. I am absolutely not touching any of my alts. I'm going to do my raiding main, my Shadow Priest. I'm going to do at least one Resto Druid for PvP. And that's going to be it. Like, forever. For the longest time until I actually run out of stuff to do, because between grinding the PvP talents and grinding leveling and grinding artifact power, and of course making videos and whatever else on top of this and getting ready for dungeons and raids and whatever, there is going to be no time for all of that jazz. Absolutely not.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, I have all these alts, and I know... I mean, just from playing a few classes here and there in the alpha originally, just getting their artifact weapon is very interesting story-wise. It's kind of cool to go through different classes and see the stories play out. But I'm not going to do that for every single one. There's no way. And I've done the Broken Shore Assault, whatever you want to call it, twice now. One in the solo when it was in alpha, and then of course the group one in beta. And I'm sorry, I'm already sick of it.
Oh, yeah. No, that's going to get so old.
Oh, my God. A lot of people are like, it's just like Tanan, but you know what? I felt at least more in control in Tanan.
Yeah.
I mean...
This one kind of feels like watching a movie where you have to grind a bunch of mobs to make it play the next scene.
Right.
At least in Tanan, it was very concise. It was very condensed. It was very, we need to free these people or screw these orcs, go light their houses on fire. And you're like, yeah, screw them.
Right.
And it was very specific what you were doing, but this one's just like, hey, go fill up this bar.
Right. And
it's a big bar.
Yeah,
try not to die.
More,
everything's going to kill you.
Right.
Good luck.
Yeah, Tanan's more immersive because you are actually interacting singularly with NPCs and everything else. There are moments where that what was that, the arena where you have to kill the 100 or whatever else. There's those parts, but otherwise, overall, I mean, you were in control of how fast that went or how slow. I mean, I could AFK at any moment if I had to. Whereas, I mean, you could AFK during the assault too.
Well, for the most part, too, the thing about the Legion Assault is that most of it, sure, there's quests, but you've got that giant horde of NPCs with you.
Right.
You're just kind of helping them. Either as much or as little as you want to. It doesn't feel like you're really doing the quest on your own. You could kind of AFK and you'd probably die and lose your buff, but you're not in, like you said, you're not in control of it. It's just kind of going along and you're sort of kind of there.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. And that's the thing. It's like, I have all these alts and I definitely would like to play more of them, but I think they're going to have to... that's what's weird for me, is with Legion, I'm going to have to play differently, just from that aspect, because I love leveling characters, but I don't see it happening in this. I mean, and it's actually kind of weird because I mean, here, one of the attractions to me to the Broken Isles is that I don't have to go in A to Z kind of leveling zone, thing because of the way the levels are set up. I can go in any order I want and go, break the monotony and start one place that I don't normally start and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But without leveling else, I mean, it doesn't matter. Go through once or whatever.
From the looks of things, like right now in Warlords has been the best time to just kind of have a bunch of alts, even though you're not going to play them. Yeah. And that's been great for me because in MoP I had all these alts. Like even when I was leveling for your guild, I was like, oh, I'm going to level this and this and this, and let's try being a warlock, and let's be a, whatever. And I had all these alts, but I knew I wasn't really going to play them. Like I would get them to max and be like, okay, that was cool. I'm gonna play my priest now. But then Warlords comes along, and all of a sudden, all of that work paid off. All of them get this garrison, and sure, it was kind of a pain in the butt to set it all up, but all of a sudden they started just printing me money. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, that's all right. I can get on board with this. And then all those alts kind of had value, and I feel like in Legion we're going back into a world where those alts don't have value, and that they kind of were a waste of time.
Yeah.
You always had that feeling back in MoP where I finished leveling a character that I just knew that I wasn't going to end up raiding on, or wasn't really going to gear up or play at all, and it's like, well, that's going to decorate my loading screen. There goes, 30 hours of my life or whatever.
I don't know. I understand that, but I don't know. I still enjoyed leveling all those characters. I enjoyed the process, but I don't know, because I mean, before you could just jump into the world practically. Yes, I mean now again we have Tanan, but at least, and this is what I wonder, because at least with Tanan you have the mechanic to skip Tanan. You can actually do that. I don't know if we'll have that with the broken.
I hope so, but I don't think
I don't think so either, because I mean this is there. I think this actually brings up an interesting thought, and I think this may be the case, is that this expansion more than any may be so story driven, because I mean look at all the names and everything that's going on in it. Maybe it has to be so rigid and structured for them to make sure that everybody gets exactly where they need to be at that same point. So maybe things like the Broken Shore Assault are very specific and very deliberate. Mm-hmm. So maybe
and that was a thought I kind of had about why they may have made that Broken Shore Assault feel so like there's so many demons that you have to kill, and they're so dangerous, and it takes so many of you to fight them. Is they really wanted to drive home that feeling of being overwhelmed,
right,
and being in danger, not being completely in control anymore. And I guess it's true that you don't feel in control of it.
That's true.
And it does suck, and I guess having your home invaded by demons would suck a lot.
Right, but
I don't know if I want that to translate
there.
into, playing a sucky game for 40 minutes. But I guess it works. That's the thing.
Right, but I don't feel the danger. I mean, now, when we have, the pre-patch event, when the Legion's attacking us, yes, then I'll feel some sense of danger. But the Broken Shore, I don't. I feel like it's just kind of like you're literally... It's like on rails, where you're just kind of going from one part to one part, where you're reading text boxes and hearing voice acting, and that's all well and good. But, I mean, that's really the main crux of what's going on, not really actually doing anything.
I think they're banking very heavily on being able to throw away lore characters to make it dangerous, being like, oh, look at these people who died. This must be really threatening, because I'm not going to name any names just in case anybody doesn't know what it is, but look at these people who died. This must be a big deal if these people died.
Yes.
So I think they're banking a little bit too heavily on that, and like you said, it is kind of on rails, so it sort of feels like you went through, a Disneyland ride where some your favorite friends died, and you're like, well, it's not a happy world or whatever. I don't feel good about this.
No, it's it's like Willy Wonka. It's just like, oh my God, they just
and the nightmares.
He got sucked up into the chocolate river. Oh no. Yeah, it does have that kind of vibe. That's funny. Now there'd be a parody I'd like to do if I could. If I was worth my salt in machinima, that's what I would do. I'd compare the Broken Shore Assault to the Willy Wonka experience going through his factory. No, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with patches, and we don't know how many patches. Speaking of, though, while we're just kind of rambling at this point, and we're talking about Legion, there's a really good video out there by, I think his name is Haven. I'd have to actually look it up to be certain. But he does a video about the islands of Warcraft, and how, some of them become the Isle of Thunder and the Timeless Isle, and how some of them become Farallon and never exist or get cut or whatever else. And he actually like tallies up, and it's basically like I think it was 7.5 islands made it and like 6.5 didn't over the span of Warcraft, so it's almost a 50-50.
They do like adding islands. That is their favorite landmass introduction device, which I guess I can see why.
Every patch. So it's a really very interesting video. We've all played the game, so we know the islands and then the history to a degree anyway from a personal amount of playtime. But when you see it kind of laid out the way he does it, it's kind of startling to see how many islands just either got cut or never made it at all, or some of them got kind of cut down. I mean, he does a really good like overlay of how they're talking about how Ashran was supposed to be with siege engines and everything else, and how it actually is. It's a very well done video. So I think it's Haven Games, maybe, I'm not sure, but it's very well done.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So on the topic of patches and deleted content and launch cycles and whatnot, how long? Our predictions here, prediction time. How long do you think Legion is actually going to last for, realistically?
God. I mean, I think it's going to be exactly what we've dealt with for 2-year cycles. I mean, I really don't think they're going to have a 1-year expansion. As much as they keep talking about that's what they want, I don't see it happening. If they were ever going to do it, it would be this shortened 2-patch, Warlords of Draenor, and they couldn't even manage that. So,
I mean, they're doing the 1-year expansion. They just add an extra year for them to work on stuff after that we kind of have to wait through.
It's true. It's a 1-year expansion elongated to 2. But yeah, I don't see it. My question is, are they really going to hold true to this 2-patch ideal? I wish they would just go back to 4. I wish they would just go back to... They
need to choose one or the other. They either need to commit to getting it out and commit to that and do 2 patches and do it every year, or they need to go back to a 2-year cycle with 4 patches.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, to me, it's startling for me to think about how, with Warlords of Draenor, we're at a crossroads between Mists and Warlords. I mean, you're not going to see another expansion like Mists of Pandaria ever again. That is like old school. We talk about vanilla and everything else, but I mean that is like the old way of doing things. And Warlords, and that's what's scary, is they started this new precedent with Warlords, which is not a great expansion. So it's frightening to me. I really do get concerned sometimes when I sit down and really honestly take a hard look at things and just like, if we can't get good patches, because I mean patches were just like, it was like a relaunch of the expansion. It was a whole new bit of story and new content and everything else, and it was exciting. I'm afraid we're not going to get that anymore. We'll see.
But I really think that... Oh, hang on. I started talking because I had a thought and then I lost it. And I was like, if I just keep making noise, it'll come back to me. Damn.
What was it we were talking about that brought it
up?
It
was related to patches and patch cycles and like launches and launch dates.
How?
Oh, I have to wonder what their incentive is for even wanting the 1-year expansion. Like, is it just as simple as they want to get an extra $60 out of us every year instead of every other year? Is that it?
That's what I assumed.
Because you'd have to assume that if they did the 2-year expansion with the extra patches, it's got to be less work for them to make another patch or to make another 2 patches for a game using existing art assets, using existing lore, existing characters, mostly existing map. It's got to be easier to just make a couple extra patches. And I'm saying that lightly, but it's like a big deal. But it's got to be easier to do that than make a whole other expansion. Like, you see all this work they're doing for Legion.
Right.
And with like the whole new world, like that's got to be way more work. And I think that's what's slowing them down. Is they'd like to get that extra $60 out of us every year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure players, like, if they could actually do an annual release, probably wouldn't really mind paying that extra money, especially if they continue to do these big systems and quality of life updates every year. that's the big thing that I think really softens players towards the idea of more frequent expansions. Is every time we get an expansion, we get something cool like transmog, or we got like reforging, and then they took that away,
Right.
or we got like this is archaeology. Here's pet battles. Like there's really cool stuff that they add in expansions.
Well, new
And the more often they
races,
do
new
expansions,
classes.
new races and classes. Yeah, the
Yeah.
more often they add expansions, the more often we can get stuff like that. But if it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. Just give us mop back.
Just
Give me. Just give me. I need it.
give me my mop back.
Yeah.
Give me a broom. No. That's another thing. The last two expansions have been mop and wad.
Yeah.
And now we've got L.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad because WAD has become kind of a meme. WAD has become a verb, especially in the PvP community. If somebody's feeling kind of fried, they're wadded out,
Oh,
or they get on there and they're sad. It's just like not too much wad, over wadded. Or
Oh,
if
my
you go
God.
kill somebody, you're like, hey, let's wad. Death Knight grips you and they start fisting you. Just like, oh no, I just got wadded. And we're not gonna have that. I can't say I got legged.
I'm okay that we don't have that. I'm glad I didn't get involved in that whole thing.
Oh, that's hilarious. That was so funny.
No, because to me, wad is definitely a 4-letter word.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
You had to think about it for a second there.
Yeah, I had to think
No,
about it.
I
I
just-
think there's
I-
lots of 4-letter words.
No, it's seriously. I there's so much to like about WoD in a lot of ways. You look at the leveling, you look at the zones, you look at the storylines, you look at the cinematics that end every zone, or almost every zone.
The leveling was phenomenal.
Yes.
That was one thing they just nailed. Like, WoD leveling was the best it's ever been.
Yes, but then that's about it. I don't know where it went from there. I don't know if it ever got
That's
any
it.
better
They
than that.
they front loaded it. They gave us great raids. They gave
Yeah.
us wonderful leveling, and everything else just kind of fell over.
Did you ever do the whole of Frostfire to get to the cutscene there?
I did, yeah.
I think that one that cutscene is, to me, Horde all the way. That is like the best explanation and demonstration of what Horde is about. I get big
That's
old
probably why I didn't like it. I'm biased.
yeah. No, I get goosebumps when I watch that because it really that and don't go watch it on YouTube and go, I don't get it. You really have to do it in context with the storyline of the zone. Once you do it that way, and I refuse to watch them until I actually watch them the way they are meant to be watched. So
Yeah.
but I'd say that one and Talador are the two best. So, but we've got great cutscenes. I mean, I can't wait to see the rad cinematic that comes after the Broken Shore assault.
Insert rad cinematic here.
That's right, and that one's gonna be a doozy because, like you said,
yeah.
of what happens there. That's oh my god, and I keep wondering, is there going to be two versions? Because you've got the Horde and the Alliance, and
I bet you they will. I bet you they're going to do two
but
versions.
they
of
come
it.
together too. So
Yeah, I guess
it's
that's
like,
true. Oh my god, the ending of that was
Yeah.
too funny right now, because you know
Variants.
how at the end the big boss, like there's the Horde and the Alliance are fighting him on their own platforms. The boss is between them,
yes,
and then the boss will go between the platforms. So I was on my platform and I was fighting him, whatever. And the Horde's on the other side. It's like, hey, there's a Horde over there. And the boss is like, hey, there's Horde over there.
Yeah.
So he goes over there, and all of my Alliance NPCs just jump in the whole
Yes,
platform
that's
and just
right.
go follow him. And then my friends are like, well, are we supposed to go over this? We jump in and we start trying to swim. And like get up on the other side. We finally get back up and like heal each other up. And one guy died in a battle rush him out of the lava. And then all of a sudden the boss goes back home. It's like, wait a minute. I don't think we're supposed to move. All the NPCs did it.
right. I mean, it was one thing to see like Varian and a couple other people back there just kind of chopping away while they're in the water, but there was a point where there's probably 6 random like Tauren guards that were just bouncing.
Like
up and down.
all of the little minor NPCs do. It's just like a giant charge. Everybody's like, all right, let's get him. They just like all run and jump off the
Yes,
cliff into the
that
lava.
was-
Then I really hope they keep that. I know they won't because it's not right. But oh my god, it was too funny.
It was, and the idea that he's gonna sit there and switch back and forth between the two groups is kind of silly too. It's like, come
Yeah.
on.
Well, that I kind of get just because there's 2 people hitting him on either side, and he like
I
summons the
suppose.
ads for you to
Finish
fight.
the one group before you go to the other, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you know.
You gotta listen to Ron Swanson. You can't half-ass 2 things. You just gotta whole-ass the one thing.
Yes. Anyway, I think it's about that time.
Mm-hmm.
This was our potpourri show where we just talked about whatever we felt like, and you know, we've done really good at staying structured for the most part. I mean, we do have our you know ramblings from time to time. and everything. But I mean, for the most part, with what most people would say a lack of content, and there's a lot of WoW podcasts that have actually gone on hiatus because there's a lack of things to talk about. I think we've done a good job at avoiding just kind of rambling like we did tonight. This is our first one.
We covered some topics today.
No, we did. No, we definitely did cover some topics, but I guess this wasn't much different.
You should think of them ahead of time. That's all.
That's true. That's true. I guess this wasn't much different than normal.
Yeah.
So we do get rambly. I, in particular, get rambly. But that's actually one of the reasons why I said, Hazel, you run the show tonight. Because I knew I'd get really rambly and we'd just get nowhere. And I still did.
I mean, we'd go somewhere.
But not where we wanted to go. So anyway.
Thank you guys all so much for coming and hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of our VOD listeners. I hope you're having a great time on your bus or your walk or
at work.
Your underground mining, whatever you're doing.
What?
I hope it. What? Somebody could be mining.
I hope they have it downloaded because they're not going to get a signal to stream it down there.
Well, yeah, you download it. You can download us on iTunes. You can download us on d20crit.com. Where else can you download us? Slacker? No, that's I don't know how to use the internet.
Stitcher actually has an
Stitcher.
option.
Thank you.
Stitcher has an option to download it. Or whenever you get to a wireless signal, it'll download your show so you could watch it or listen to it later when you don't have a wireless signal.
All right, there you go.
It's nice.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Some tweet us topics. You guys have so much influence you don't even understand.
That's right.
If something wants to talk about, you tweet it at us.
We
got you. We got you. Unless it's like horribly inappropriate, in which case we'll consider it. Well, we'll give it a good discussion about the finer points of Overwatch porn or whatever you want us to talk about.
I really do think we need to have one episode that is just a straight AMA. Just that's all it is. You guys just ask us what if we like peanut butter and jelly, whatever you want to ask. We should have just one episode where it's just complete mania. I think that sounds fun. Mm-hmm. Anyway, all right. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Bye. 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 Bye.